Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from our space. Girlfriend of 7 years cheated on me when I was in the same party and caught her in bed with the affair partner. Really don't know what to do. We had our issues. They were big ones. We always lacked in our communication, and I feel like we have both been unhappy for some time. Our sex life was dead. Probably hadn't had sex for 2 years. Both our faults, but I know I'm especially not a very sexual person. We got pretty drunk one night and went to our mutual friend's house. I passed out on the couch. I woke up and found the door open and it happening. I left immediately. Been a rough week, looking for places, but I just can't shake the feeling of not wanting our life together to end. I will say this was completely out of nowhere. Even after going through the whole deal of telling my friends, the consensus was always the same, that it was completely unlike her, and no one thought she would be capable of something like that. And I do really believe that. I really do believe this to be a one-off. Am I an idiot if I want to stay and try to work through our deeper issues that led to this? I believe that this happened due to a product of our environment, but I'm not sure. He works with her too, and that probably won't change. I just know I could never see him again. Sorry if my thought process sounds broken. I'm pretty broken as is right now. Let's get some thoughts, shall we? D Reddit Avenger starts us off. Dating is a test. She failed. You need to stop saying it was unlike her. It's her, she did it. Believe it. You might not even know her like you think you do. That happens all the time. Don't let your heart lead this OP, or you will end up hurting yourself. Okay, replacement 7697 weighs in. Has she tried to make you forgive her? What did she say? The OP answers. She's incredibly ashamed of herself and has no idea why she even did it. She's pretty freaking distraught as well. She can't even believe she did it, and I do believe her in that. But she hasn't tried to make me forgive her. Hasn't even asked for it. She said she understands why I would want to leave, and she moved out of the house and said she would continue to pay the lease until it is up in January. One more thought coming from Lopsided Collar 7164. She works with your mutual friend, and the moment you passed out, this happened. She may not seem like the kind of girl to do this, but I highly doubt it was a one-off thing. Odds are that at least they flirted behind your back before, or they have been having an affair for a while. Maybe during lunch hours within those 2 years of no sex it started. This is not just something that happened. The fact that they were comfortable enough to do it with you there, and that she isn't even trying to get you back, but is paying the lease, tells me that she is guilty of more and wants out herself. Probably to continue with him. Most likely cutting ties before you find out the rest. He was never a friend, and she is not the person you thought she was. She knows why she did it. She is attracted to him, and you guys had nothing going on in the bedroom. 2 years without sex. 2 years, and you think this was a one-time thing. No way. She was wrong, but if you didn't have drive, you still have to make an effort when in a relationship to get your groove back, at least for your partner's needs. If she was the cause of the dead bed, it could have been that it was about that time the affair started, because pleasuring two people can be work, so one person doesn't get any. She stood because she was comfortable. She stood for the emotional attachment. She stood because the truth was better kept hidden, not love. You were her roommate if there was no sex, and he fulfilled the rest. So, you are grieving the person you thought she was and the life you imagined you could have, not the person she is today. She left your apartment. That tells to what you need to know. It is done. She is only ashamed of getting caught and being embarrassed by others knowing what she was up to behind your back. Your friends know. They just will indulge your idea that this was a one-off not to hurt you. She probably doesn't love you anymore, as she just packed up and left after getting caught. Time to cut ties with both of them, grieve, and move on with someone better suited for you that hates cheaters. Next up, found out my girlfriend is sexting with her ex. Hi everyone, first time posting here. Not sure about the proper etiquette, but I frequently go to Reddit when I have problems to see if people have gone through similar ones. Here's mine. I, 24 male, started seeing this girl, 23 female, 2 months ago, and things have been absolutely wonderful. We went to high school together but didn't know each other at the time. We have a lot of the same interests and hobbies, and our chemistry, both emotional and sexual, has been some of the best I've ever had. Just this last week, we went on a solo trip together, and she said she was falling in love. I said I was too. The last night of the trip, yesterday, she told me that she was overwhelmed by a lot of things, and while she definitely felt that she loved me and wanted to be with me, she was feeling anxiety. This led to a deeper conversation where I had to ask the right questions for her to come clean to me. She admitted that just the last Thursday through Saturday, she was sexting him constantly. They had phone sex once, maybe twice. She sent him a nude that I also received, but that was originally sent to him. When she was drunk with her friends Saturday night, she messaged about how close he was and how she wished he was there. She told me she didn't even remember sending the last part, that she was drunk. I've asked for some space the next few days to process and think about what I want. This is a very early relationship, and she was with him for over a year, and it ended a couple of months ago. Need some opinions outside of my own and thoughts about how to go about this. I do want to be with her, but I am scared about what that means and if this is just delaying the inevitable. First words of wisdom coming from Professional Hat 284. She cheated on you, and had he been available, she would have had sex with him. Even though it seems as though she may truly be remorseful since she felt so guilty about it, that it was eating at her, the fact is she was sexting for days and even went so far as to say she wanted him there, albeit she was drunk. Being drunk usually removes any inhibitions and usually reveals a certain truth. She obviously is still very much sexually attracted to her ex. Consider if you feel you can trust her, or will you be questioning her every move. If the trust is gone, the relationship is gone. Also consider if the ex knew about you and still continued. He doesn't really respect you or your relationship with her. So, if you decide to stay, you have to set boundaries, which should include she end all contact with him. Our next thought coming from Carrie Hunts. She's hung up on her ex and hasn't moved on. Time for you to cut your losses before it gets too deep, because she's already been unfaithful with him behind your back, and you'll always have that uneasy feeling she prefers him over you, and you'll never be able to truly trust her. I would say cut your losses. One last insightful comment from ARC19790. Sorry dude, walk away. Now for the next story. Girlfriend, 24, confessed that she was going behind my back, male 28, and I'm breaking up with her. Hey, long story and first time posting here. So we had been together for 4 years. We also worked together. Around the start of 2019, a new guy started working in the same place we did. Let's call him Ryan. I had taken notice that they were getting very friendly. I had a strange feeling about it, but I'm not the type of person to tell someone they can't be friends with someone. That's just not me. So I kept quiet. It all came to a head at a staff party. We all went out and went to a friend's house after. During that party, I noticed the two of them were missing from the party, and when I went looking, I found the two of them on the stairs having a conversation, but they saw me. It looked like they had been caught doing something. The next day, I brought it up, and she confessed that when they were on the stairs, he told her he had feelings for her, and she said the same. Now, she was hysterical telling me this, telling me that she didn't mean it, and she had made a drunken mistake. What also came out during this was that they had been texting nonstop for about 2 months before that. Now, this should have been my time to walk away, but I didn't. She told me she will cut all contact with the guy, and I believe what she was telling me. She was going through a lot at the time. Father had just passed from cancer, and her mother was also sick. I feel that might have played into my decision to stick with her due to how much she was telling me the whole thing has screwed her head up and she feels lost. I decided to forgive her and try to move on, but it was hard. The trust had been broken, so we stayed together and tried to work on it for the next few months. We broke up in October of 2020, but we stayed in contact very regularly and met up every few weeks. It seemed like more of a break away from each other than a full breakup. We got back together in June of this year, and I asked her to be upfront and honest. Had she been with anyone else? She said she had been talking to 1 or 2 guys and nothing came of it, and I believed her once again. For the first few months, things were going well. It was a few weeks ago when she decided to tell me that she couldn't live with the guilt anymore, and the truth came out. The reason we had broke up the first time was because of her feelings for Ryan. They had never stopped texting, and in the 8 or 9 months we were broke up, they had been meeting. She says they only met up 5 times in that whole time span and only had sex once, although the other times they met, they had done stuff, just never sex. I'm finding this all very hard to believe. She is still trying to tell me now that it's not as bad as I'm making it out, and that she only wants a future with me, but what hope is there when the trust has been destroyed this bad? Any advice would be appreciated. Our first comment comes from Big Pension 4407. She only wants a future with you, but gets infatuated by other guys and can't stop texting them, not to mention the lying. She hid it for quite a long time and waited until she completely secured you as her safe spot. Trust me, dude. You were too good when you took her back in 2019, even if it's for her bad family situations. She made her situation an excuse to act on her feelings. She straight up showed interest in another guy while being with you and cheated on you. You should be clear what you want. If you want a loyal person, then she's not the one. It's up to you, OP. Good luck. One more comment from A. Ethan V. She's never told the truth even once. She's gaslighted you and kept you as her plan B, whilst she pursued and has sex with other guys, and was never upfront about it. Do you really think anything she says can be trusted? She's just trying to secure her backup plan. She won't stop pursuing others, and you'll never be able to trust her. Do not have any contact with her. On to the next story. My significant other fell for a woman she wanted to explore her sexuality with. My partner, 36 female, and I, 42 male, have been hetero-monogamous for about 6 years. For most of our relationship, she has spoken casually about her unexplored interest in women. 2 years ago, she started testing that more seriously by enjoying lesbian porn and fantasizing about being with other women, including possibly inviting someone into our bed. That was not possible, however, since A, she was scared I'd fall for this third party, and B, I'm too shy. We discussed that she could explore sex with a woman on her own. I agreed. Just sex. She was very confident in our relationship, and this ostensibly had nothing to do with us. I couldn't deny that if she was deeply bi, gay, whatever, she should probably figure that out. She went on a couple dates with a poly friend. They made out and shared a nice connection. Everything was fine. I was kept informed, and this friend was open and kind with me, which made me feel comfortable. In the end, they didn't connect to the degree of actually having sex. The relationship kind of fizzled, and they easily slid back into a friend zone. Now I'm wondering the details. A few months later, my significant other and I randomly met a woman in a town nearby. They were both like deer in headlights. I was there. It was cute seeing them each light up. Some weeks pass, and we see her again. They connect and exchange numbers. After a couple hangouts, significant other arranged to go visit this woman on her own, with the interest of having sex, or maybe not. I was nervous, but complicit. When she came home 48 hours later, my significant other was in Loveland, NRE infatuation. She was also very reluctant and slow to share any information about her getaway. I had to figure things out, ask questions while she trickled-truthed me about the intensity of the feelings and experiences they shared. Eventually, it came out that this woman wanted my significant other to choose between her and me. And to my shock and horror, it appeared my significant other was bringing that into consideration. I went into panic mode, tried to grab control, telling her she couldn't see this woman anymore, etc. After 10 days of watching my significant other bound up in her NRE, refusing to let her go, I gave up and said, F it. I can't control another person. Like it or not, I understood that I was suddenly partnered with a polyamor, and I could see that it worked for her too. Through it all, she never stopped wanting me. Anyways, I was overwhelmed and I told her to do whatever she wanted, and that at this point, I was withdrawing my commitment to her. I just couldn't process what was happening. So for her, this was a green light to go back and see her other lover, to end the relationship, because by now, she was starting to grasp the cost on ours. After 2 nights of saying goodbye, she returned with her tail between her legs, ready to rebuild. But by then, I was broken. It was too much for me, and I told her it was over. My significant other never wanted to end our relationship, except when she was considering leaving me for the other woman, which she now attributes to having been carried away by her first, serious, lesbian experience. She has described elements of her revelation, that she is bi, gay, and I have to sympathize. She discovered something important about herself. I would want to know that about myself too. Mentally, she is still feeling the loss of the other woman, who she is no longer communicating with, but also feeling very scared to lose me. Indeed, she does love me. Our relationship had problems, but was based in genuine love, kindness, and respect. And yes, we did have lots of amazing post-breakup sex. Thank you, unrequited lust. And she began to recognize more clearly her actions before she departed, solo on a trip that had been planned for the two of us. So naturally, she thinks we're still on, and that in a few weeks, when her trip is over, she will return to move back in with me. I think this post is revealing my anger and obviously my own bias, which is tainted by a previous long-term relationship with a partner who taught me too much about infidelity. I'm not really sure what to expect from this posting. Maybe it's just diary entry for myself. I'm quite lost, and depression is setting in, exacerbated by other life career problems. Not looking for ego pets or justification, but perhaps a reader may have some thoughtful words. Thanks for reading. Editing to clarify that the solo trip she is currently on was my doing. I bailed on the vacation because it was too much after what I'd been through. I wanted space alone, so told her to go without me. It wouldn't have made sense for me to go alone, for various practical reasons. She was quite devastated to not have me at her side on this trip, and still is asking I join her there. Not going to happen. First bit of advice coming from Cranach. It is like you said, she broke you, your trust and your respect for her. She also showed you that she doesn't respect you. If that is something that you think you can come back from, is something only you know. Please get tested for STDs either way, and keep in mind, there is no obligation to stay with her. You need to do what is best for yourself. Next comment coming from 02201970A. So she was faced with choosing between the two of you, and she went and slept with the other woman for days before coming back? Yeah, that is cheating. Doesn't matter, male, female, attack helicopter. She cheated and will again if you take her back. Our last comment coming from Finister Gedenken. I know I am bisexual even though I have always been in heterosexual relationships. I have never done anything with my same gender, and still, I know I am bisexual. What happened to you sounds exactly like what men fear when they get into a relationship with me, knowing I'm bisexual and have never been with a woman. But no, we don't need to actually experiment to know our preferences. We don't need to break our monogamy to explore our identities. She is just a cheater using her sexuality as an excuse. It gives us all, bisexuals, a bad name. I'm so sorry. Don't believe her excuses.